The autumn air carried a crisp bite as 6-year-old Penny Watson hugged her scuffed teddy tighter. Her small fingers traced the bear's patched eye, a souvenir from gentler days when her father was still alive. On a weathered park bench beside her mother, Hannah, she watched other kids whirl across the bright playground, their laughter drifting through Central Park like blown dandelion seeds. "Are we bad people, Mama?" Penny whispered, the soft question cutting through the city's hum. Hannah's breath hitched. She tucked a strand of auburn hair behind her ear, her once immaculate nails chipped bare. "Why would you ask that, sweetheart?" "Ms. Reynolds said only bad people get evicted," Penny murmured, blue eyes clouded with confusion. "And Billy said we're going to be homeless." 20 feet away, half hidden by a broad oak, Mason Grant slowed mid-jog. 38, founder and CEO of Grant Innovations, he was the press's favorite, most eligible bachelor. A label that meant little to him now. He hadn't meant to eavesdrop, but something in the child's voice rooted him to the spot. He sipped his water, pretending to catch his breath while listening for the mother's reply. Hannah drew Penny close. "No, baby. We're not bad people. Sometimes good people hit hard times." Mason noticed her clothes, once quality, now faded by too many washes. Weariness bowed her shoulders, yet dignity held her straight. Something about her tugged at his memory. "But why did they lock our apartment?" Penny asked. "Where will we sleep tonight?" Hannah swallowed. "We'll figure it out, Penny girl. We always do." Mason drifted nearer, stretching against a tree. The woman's profile struck a chord. College, maybe. Hannah pulled a peanut butter sandwich from a tired designer bag, halved it, and handed Penny the bigger piece. "Aren't you hungry, Mama?" "Not very," she lied with a small smile. The quiet sacrifice hit Mason like a body blow. He pictured the untouched 5-star breakfasts waiting at his penthouse most mornings. When Hannah tucked a curl behind Penny's ear, recognition clicked. Hannah Watson, from Columbia University, economics. Brilliant. He remembered a scholarship gala where she'd spoken about financial inclusion with blazing clarity. How had life steered her to this bench? His phone buzzed again. He texted Vanessa, running late. Reschedule. Something important. Park security guard approached. "Ma'am, benches aren't for long stays." Color rose in Hannah's cheeks. "We were just leaving." She gathered a backpack, a rolling suitcase, the teddy. "Where now, Mama?" "An adventure," Hannah said lightly. Mason decided. He stepped forward, trying out lines in his head. Would she remember him? Would she accept help without feeling small? "Hannah," he called. She turned, tired caution in her gaze, arm instinctively around Penny. "I'm sorry. Do I know you?" "Mason Grant. Columbia. Professor Harrington's advanced theory." Recognition flickered, then embarrassment. "Of course. It's been a long time." "Too long," he said, forcing casual warmth. "I was grabbing coffee and saw you. Would you both join me?" Pride warred with necessity on Hannah's face. "We wouldn't want to impose. You'd save me from a dreadful meeting," he joked. A real smile softened her features. He knelt to Penny's eye level. "I know a place with hot chocolate and too many marshmallows." Penny looked to Hannah, then nodded, shy but hopeful. They crossed to a nearby cafe perfumed with coffee and butter. Mason steered them to a quiet corner. "This place is fancy," Penny whispered, "like princess movies." "Mind your manners, sweetheart," Hannah said, smoothing curls. Nervous habit, Mason noted. He ordered coffee for the adults, hot chocolate for Penny, and, despite Hannah's protests, one of everything from the pastry case. "Columbia feels like another lifetime," Mason said when the server left. "You were going to change microfinance. Your thesis on community lending, Harrington called it the best in 20 years. Pride ghosted over Hannah's face before exhaustion dimmed it. "Life turns." "Mama was a big-shot banker," Penny chimed. "She had a desk with her name." "Penny," Hannah warned. "I'd like to hear if you want to share," Mason said. The drinks arrived, pastries piled high. Penny waited for permission, then reached for a chocolate croissant. Hannah sipped coffee, eyes closing at the warmth. My husband, Robert, was diagnosed with aggressive pancreatic cancer 3 years ago. Insurance didn't cover experimental care. We maxed cards, took a second mortgage, emptied savings. I'm sorry, Mason said, meaning it. He fought 2 years, Hannah continued. After he passed, the bills didn't. She lost her job in a downsizing 6 months ago. Consulting gigs kept them afloat, until they didn't. Yesterday, the locks changed. Anger simmered in Mason. Where were you going? Women's shelter has a wait list. A friend might loan us a couch for a few days. It's complicated. Penny quietly devoured a second pastry. Chocolate streaked across her cheek.
Ma seule chose.
I have a proposition.
No strings.
Say no and I'll still make sure you're safe tonight. She stiffened. What kind of proposition? We're launching a community impact division. Microlending in underserved neighborhoods. I've thought about it for months. You'd be perfect. You haven't seen my work in a decade. Then show me. I have a guest apartment downtown. Stay there, interview, draft a proposal. If it's not a fit, no hard feelings, you'll have time to regroup. Why would you do this? She asked. He weighed the truth. Guilt? Admiration? Something he'd never pursued back in school? Because I can help, he said simply. At least let me book a hotel for tonight. Hannah's eyes shone. We're not a charity case. I never thought that. Everyone needs help sometimes. Penny studied him with solemn gravity. Daddy said sometimes angels don't have wings, just kind eyes. The words disarmed them both. Mason wrote his personal number and address on a card. No pressure. Even if you pass, I can call around. They ate lighter conversation. Penny's favorite books, Hannah's urban gardening, Mason's recent Japan trip. Trust took a tentative breath. Still, Hannah glanced at the door more than once, and questions about her former employer slid off to the side. When they parted, Mason to a delayed meeting, Hannah to a friend's couch. Mason called his head of security, James Blackwell. Quiet background check, he said. Especially her time at First National. I want to know why she couldn't land anywhere else. He knew he was crossing a line, but instinct said danger lived underneath the eviction. 3 weeks later, sunlight pooled over the guest apartment's floor-to-ceiling windows. Hannah knelt amid spreadsheets and drafts for the new lending program. On the balcony, Penny squealed as Mason pushed the swing he'd installed last weekend. Gratitude, caution, and a reluctant warmth tangled in Hannah's chest. The lobby called. Ms. Watson, a man insists on seeing you. Says he's from your former employer. Name? Victor Collins. Ice ran through her. Do not let him up. If he returns, notify me immediately. She watched Mason lift Penny, both laughing. She couldn't pull them into this storm. Tonight she'd tell him the truth, or enough of it. That evening, Mason uncorked wine. Good news. The board approved your proposal. Full funding next month. They want you to run it. Hannah accepted the glass but didn't drink. Someone from my old bank came today. Victor Collins. I wasn't fully honest about why I left. Mason set down his glass.
I'm listening.
I filed a compliance report. Irregularities in large corporate accounts. Shell companies, undocumented loans, rate manipulation. When I pushed, I was restructured out. I kept encrypted copies. Mason's jaw tightened. Collins, head of security, former FBI. He searched my home under pretense of retrieving my laptop. He implied consequences. Why now? Mason asked. Unless, Hannah swallowed. The hard drive was in our apartment when we were evicted. Storage or seized, Mason said. If Collins tracked you, he may have it. Panic flared. I should never have stayed here. You and Penny? Hannah, Mason said evenly. This building is a fortress. You don't understand, she insisted. The money touched dangerous groups. They don't hesitate. Then you don't face it alone, he said. I need to admit something too. I had my team run a check after we met. She stiffened. I knew something didn't add.
I'm sorry.
What we found matches your story, and more. Meridian Global Holdings is linked to the accounts. Hannah's face paled. Meridian's a top First National client. Richard Davenport, Meridian's CEO, sits on First National's board. We also found 3 employees who raised concerns. 1 drowned accidentally. 1 vanished in Mexico. The 3rd recanted, then received a 7-figure deposit offshore. Her phone buzzed. A photo of Penny at school, followed by 3 words. Insurance policy. Cooperate. Fury set Mason's features. That's it. Tonight you go to my Connecticut estate. Tomorrow the FBI. If they're watching Penny, Hannah whispered, we must be surgical. We need a case too solid to bury. Agreed, Mason said. Pack for a few days. As she gathered Penny's things, a thought hit her like live current. The timing in the park. The perfect job. The microlending idea tailored to her. Mason, she called, returning to the living room. How did you happen by our bench that morning? He blinked. I run that route every day. And you just happen to remember my thesis details from 12 years ago? Create the perfect position? Are you working with them? Hurt flared in his eyes.
No.
I remembered because I admired you. I created the role for you because I wanted to help. I'm taking Penny and leaving. She backed away. Don't stop us. He lifted his hands. At least let my team. So they can track us?
No.
He hesitated, then said softly, Robert asked me to look out for you if anything happened. She froze. What? We met at a charity event. When he got sick, he worried about you and Penny. He made me promise to help, quietly, because he knew you'd refuse overt help. Realization dawned, painful and bright. The anonymous donation to his medical fund, Penny's school scholarship, that consulting job. All arranged as he asked, Mason said, regret in his voice. Seeing you in the park, I broke my promise. I couldn't stay in the shadows. The apartment phone shrilled. Mason answered, face darkening. Lock down the building. Protocol 7. He spun a painting aside to reveal a safe, checked a compact handgun, and tucked it away. Collins is in the lobby with 3 men. Cameras disabled. What's Protocol 7? Emergency evacuation. He opened a hidden passage. This way. They reached a private garage. The sedan, Mason said. Armored. As they pulled out, Hannah asked, Are you connected to Meridian? No, he said, eyes in the mirror. But I know who is. Davenport and I were college roommates. We split when he embraced questionable money. He built Meridian. He crossed a line when he threatened a child. Headlights flooded the rearview. Black SUV. Another moved to cut them off. Hold on, Mason said, driving hard, weaving through traffic, skimming a curb, finding open asphalt. Penny whimpered. Make it stop, Mama. Hannah's fear hardened into resolve. Your phone, she told Mason. She called a number from memory. Agent Ramirez? Hannah Watson. I'm ready to hand over everything. If you protect my daughter. Mason took the phone. Ramirez, this is Mason Grant. We're en route to my airfield near Teterboro. 2 black SUVs in pursuit. Sirens soon wove into the night. Security gates opened onto Mason's private tarmac. A small jet waited, stairs down, engines warm. Go, Mason said, reaching for his weapon. We stay together, Hannah answered steady. Police swarmed the fence line. They sprinted aboard, sealed the door. Where to, sir? The pilot asked. Mason glanced at Hannah. Somewhere they can't touch us, she said. The island, Mason decided. Have legal meet us there. As the jet thundered skyward, Hannah looked at the shrinking patchwork of lights below. For the first time in years, hope rose sharp and clean. Penny slept against her shoulder. Mason sat across. Relief and resolve twined on his face. Thank you, she said. Don't thank me yet, he replied. We still have a fight. 6 months later, Penny sculpted a sand castle on a quiet Caribbean beach while Mason helped, both sun-dusted and laughing. From their sanctuary, Hannah had guided the lending program's launch remotely. With her evidence and Mason's network, the FBI built an ironclad case. Richard Davenport and 7 executives from Meridian and First National faced multiple federal charges. Victor Collins flipped, detailing the laundering operation in exchange for leniency. A text pinged from Agent Ramirez. Davenport denied bail. Trial set for June. You're clear to return. That evening, ocean breeze warm on the terrace, Hannah joined Mason. Ramirez says we can go home. Is that what you want? He asked. Home had been a slippery word since Robert died. I want stability for Penny, she said. Friends, school, community. We could build that here or anywhere, Mason offered. She laughed. You make it sound easy. It can be. He took her hand. These months, watching you fight, seeing your brilliance, getting to know Penny, have been the best of my life. Mine too, she said quietly. Then let's build something permanent, he said. Not just a program, a life. She studied the familiar kindness in his eyes, the kind Penny had named on day one, the steadiness that had carried them through. Robert would approve, she whispered. I hope so, Mason said. I promised him I'd look after you both. I didn't expect to find this. She leaned in, foreheads touching. When Penny asked if we were bad people, I felt I'd failed everyone. Now I know we're not defined by what happens to us, but by how we answer it, and by who stands beside us. Moonlight stitched silver on the waves as she kissed him. An agreement, a beginning. Morning found them laughing over breakfast while Penny climbed onto a stool. Are we going home soon, Mama? Hannah met Mason's eyes and smiled. Yes, sweetheart. But home might look a little different now. Penny considered. Will Mason come too? If that's okay. Mason's careful reply made her beam. I knew it, she crowed. I told Teddy you were our angel, even without wings. Watching her daughter chatter about blue ribbon towers and seashell gates, Hannah felt the final seam of her heart knit. From a desperate bench and a terrible question to this bright kitchen and a better answer, they had crossed the impossible and found their way home.